trying to answer unanswered questions in the Mar-a-Lago case against former President Trump. That's our topic tonight on Open Line. Rhori Johnston with you. Our guest, Dr. John Weil, joining us via Zoom from MTSU in Murfreesboro. We've got 4 callers to get to and a little bit of time here, so we're going to try to get to everybody who's waiting, and we'll start with Prissy. Hi, Prissy.
Hey, y'all.
Hi.
Hey, Professor Val, I'm really disturbed that I really think that the Republican Party has just finally totally lost its way. I don't know if you've ever seen that documentary on Enron, the smartest guy in the room. It just seems like that's how they're running the Republican Party, and they went full tilt when it came to Trump and his administration. I remember that they had some auditing issues, and I'm looking at our state government here. Phil Williams did a report here a couple of weeks ago about some auditing issue here, of some misspent money in the millions, and nobody's really saying anything, and that's my money. So even if it's $2.30, that's still my money that I want my trust that it's used correctly. But anyway, it seems like it's being ran like the company Enron, and now they're going to try to run the whole country that way. But anyway, Professor, one of the things that I remember when Trump first got in office, that he was talking about voter fraud then, before he won the election, and after he won the election, he wanted all these voting records from all these states. Tennessee refused. But when I look at calling for an audit when they went down to Georgia, from what I understand, I don't know if you know much about this, but they went in and they got all the voting records here recently and the software that deals with the security of the integrity of the election from Georgia, and they handed it over, and these people are nobody. These are these fake electors or something. Yep. I just want to know, how are we auditing now? You look at Trump's thing with the district attorney in New York and everything, and there is an auditing process to everything, including classified material.
Right. We'll hold right there.
Don't become God on that.
Hold right there, Prissy. We'll listen to the answer so we can get to a couple more calls. Go ahead, Don.
Well, what we forget is there's sort of an army of people who dedicate their time to trying to keep the elections running smoothly. Yeah. And most of them, as far as I can tell, have done their jobs admirably, some of even facing threats.
Yeah, and many of them have done this for years.
Yes. And the backup, of course, as we discussed earlier, is if somebody thinks fraud has occurred, they can go to a federal court. And the judges are there for life. They're no longer beholden to any political party. If anybody can ascertain truth or not, it's likely to be there.
Yeah. Let's go next to Linda. Hi, Linda. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Linda. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Of course, Trump knew what he had because he was on Sean Hannity, one of those Fox guys, and was talking about he did declassified things by thinking about it.
Right.
Like he's some kind of super person or something. And another thing, I heard he buried his first wife on his golf course, I think, in New Jersey, so he could avoid tax on the property.
I don't know about that.
So, I was wondering if the professor had heard about that.
Okay.
I have heard that. Apparently there is a tax break connected with cemeteries. Now, I don't know that it was against her will.
Right.
So I don't want to eat too much of it, but
Let's go to Stephanie next. Hi, Stephanie. Welcome.
Hi. Quick thing on the 2020 election.
Yeah.
If the Democrats truly believe it was a secure and fair election and Biden wanted to unite the country, with all the money that has been spent chasing Trump, why don't they just have a bipartisan forensic audit, but Democrats cannot appoint rhinos as they have with the January 6th committee and settle this?
Good question. And I think a number of states have done some kind of reviews and audits, not federal level though, right?
I think that's right. And again, there have been a lot of court cases. And, and the other thing I would say is the January 6th committee is not as bipartisan as it could have been, but partly that was by Republican choice. They either wanted to nominate someone who was just, so biased that you weren't going to get any good investigation, or they didn't want to go through with it at all. So they may have shot themselves in the foot here.
All right, let's go to Chris next. Hi, Chris. Welcome.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, my question is, they talk about these documents that the presidents have in their, tenure while they are in the Oval Office, belong to the people. They say they go to the National Archives and they belong to the people.
Right.
Okay. Why can't the people actually read these documents? If they're classified and they belong to the people, it seems to me asinine to say that they are classified. So we never get to see any unredacted documents, and we hear all this rhetoric about classified documents.
Right.
And prior to Richard Nixon, old Tricky Dick, the presidents could take tons of documents home.
Right, yeah.
After Watergate, Congress voted to keep all his personal documents there so he couldn't take evidence away and destroy it because of Watergate.
Right. Hold on right there so
and
we have time.
Subsequently, after that, they came up with a law that made it apply to all future presidents, I think after Jimmy Carter.
All right, hold right there. We're going to get some answers. Now, once an investigation's over, a presidency's over, if we're years later, a lot of that stuff is, opened up, unsealed. We now have access to a lot of stuff with Watergate that we didn't years ago. Is it just a matter of time with a lot of this stuff?
It is. And some of these, to sort of follow up on what he said, they belong to the American people, but they don't belong to the Russians or the Chinese, so or potential enemies. So if there are documents there that might aid our enemies, it would be in our own interest that they not be revealed. But there have been concerns over the past that sometimes too many people have the right to classify too many documents, and I think that's always something that, and again, reporters will often sort of step in here and try to figure out, are we classifying what the president had for breakfast, or are we classifying nuclear secrets?
Exactly. Great calls, by the way, and we have about one minute left. I'll ask you a quick question, Dr. Weil, before we go, because this is our final little segment. Where are we right now in this investigation? Do we know?
I don't know if I'd want. I'm not an attorney. I don't know if I were, if I'd want to be Trump's attorneys or not. You got a lot of employment ahead of you. On the other hand, you have a client who may or may not be very cooperative. So I think a lot of this is unknown.
Right.
It's a little bit, though, like the walls. It's not just one wall that's potentially closing in, but there are 4 or 5 walls that could be coming together.
Wow. We'll see, and we'll also see, how the results of the midterm elections politically could influence things. Dr. John Weil, thank you for being our guest. We appreciate it.
It was a pleasure.
As always, appreciate your insight. We're going to take a break and wrap things up right after this.